Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here. It is 8:30 a.m. EST. We did just get a little bit of economic data drop, but right now markets are probably going to be a little bit slow, although we had a massive gap up on the Nasdaq on Sunday in the futures. Actually, I should say it's Monday morning. Monday morning Nasdaq open was just insanely powerful. And I think that has a lot to do with the deals being made with the tech companies, and there's a lot going on in the data center space, right? So look at this though. This was the Monday morning open for the Nasdaq. Now, first of all-time high was made apparently in the futures market, the Sunday open. Let's see if that's right or if that was on Friday. Okay, so no, Friday. So Friday, we saw the all-time high in the Nasdaq, right? If you go back here, I go zoom out. We don't see any prices any higher than this. Friday was an all-time high. A lot of people thought, oh, the markets are going to fall, this, that, and the other. And nope, they just keep being held up. And I keep telling you, I keep saying this over and over with the Nasdaq, the markets must go up. We've talked about this a lot. Now they can go down. Let me fix something on the screen here. A little funkiness. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to fix that. And oh, hey, what's up? I got a head floating around. All right, back to the chart here. When I say the markets must go up, a lot of that's going to have to do with the fact that there's a lot of interconnecting loans. There's a lot of contagion. Okay, so contagion it's a situation where basically, if the stock market falls, a lot of companies fall, a lot of businesses take a big hit. And that's a big problem. They can't have that, right? You can't have it where somebody borrowed against their stock and then their stock goes down. And then that loan that was collateralized by that stock is then now called in, because who does stuff like that? Zuckerberg does that, right? Elon Musk does that. All your big players do that. Large companies do that. And this is the way that they fund a lot of their projects. So if you're Elon Musk and you borrowed a bunch against your Tesla stock, and then all of a sudden Tesla takes a dump, well, shoot, man. All of a sudden your loan gets called in, the loan that was paying for a lot of X, and then X all of a sudden needs to go find money, like in an emergency, basically. So, this is the problem, right? This is where we start to see issues with that. So the stock market must go up. The elites need it to go up to continue to play their game. And the game must go until it is finished. We're at a point where I believe the only way out is through. So the market continues up, right? Market continues up. So how big is this gap up? How big did the Nasdaq open up? Let's take a look. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I had to make a quick change there. Let's see if that reflects. Yep, okay. Back to the show here. Apologies for all of that. This was a gap up on the Monday morning open. The stock market open, I think it's partially in anticipation to the rate cut happening on Wednesday. But that's almost a full % gap up. And that's huge for the Nasdaq. That's like billions of dollars, as far as I can tell. So, it's just in my head math. That's a lot of money. Probably a huge % of it was probably NVIDIA. Let's see. Because NVIDIA is like 14% of the stock market. And I remember the tech companies last week. I remember pointing that out, where a lot of companies hadn't moved up. They hadn't done that well, but the tech companies were gapping up in a big way. And that was on some news. Yeah, we could see. I mean, some of these gapped up a bit, but overall, that's the Nasdaq. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. You got all-time highs in Nasdaq. Now you just have to kind of hang out and see what happens. In a way, well, we can go back to do some estimates. Bitcoin not doing a whole lot. It did hit the 2 targets that I called out, 2 weeks ago. I did say, I'm going to say a week and a half ago, I called out these two targets on Bitcoin, 114. What is this? 114.5, 116.5. I called those out, saying that I expected those to happen. And let me go ahead and shift this over. Right now, I think Bitcoin might be kind of like a lot of the market on the edge of its seat, waiting for the data to come out. I think it will continue up, though. I think we're going to see kind of a messy leg up. So if I go out to the daily on Bitcoin, what I expect to see is Bitcoin chop sideways and grind up, right? Just kind of pull one of these guys right here, sideways, and then maybe grind up like that. Maybe a move back down and then up, so something just kind of along these lines for the next several weeks. Might not take this long, might only take, 1 or 2 weeks, but I think you're going to see a grind up and to the right and eventually a poke up. But these things can last for a while. September tends to be a relatively weak month for Bitcoin as well. So understand that. September can be a weak month for Bitcoin. Yeah, so that's Bitcoin. And what data came out this morning? I know there was something. Let me find the data screen. Okay. Okay, so we had the retail sales data. That actually came out pretty strong. That was kind of a hot print. So indication that maybe we'll only see a 25 BP cut on Wednesday, a 25 basis point cut. And, with the Nasdaq just roaring up like it did, maybe they don't need to fudge the data to make it look weak. I don't know. Maybe this is just the data. See, the thing is about the data that we get from these announcements is like BS. It's fudged. We all know it's fudged. Everybody knows it's fudged. It is what it is, right? So you just kind of, you play the game. But and give us some possible targets on the Nasdaq. I have to get granular on this one. The tough thing about targets on the Nasdaq is that we don't know when this impulse is going to end. If we did, we'd have a little bit more reliable data. I mean, I can go back to a much kind of a higher time frame, talk about what I think is going to happen, but it's almost not really worth it to talk about it until we see what happens on tomorrow when the FOMC data comes out. And that's going to come out tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST. So they're going to go ahead and make a rate decision. They're going to talk about, they're going to say, hey, we're going to do either a 25 basis point cut, no cut, maybe 50 basis point cut. I think it's going to be just what everybody thinks, which is 25, a 0.25% cut in the interest rate. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's a stable thing to do. With markets heading up like this, and with today's retail sales looking as strongly as they do, whether or not that data is real, that data will be partially used for the decision. So they say, oh, we don't really need to cut 50 basis points. The retail sales is doing great, that kind of thing. So I think we'll just see markets continue along this line. And where this goes, it's a little tough to say. At this point, these equities markets are pretty fake, and a lot of people know it. Honestly, I think we're in the roaring 20s, just like we were in the 1920s. And what happens at the end of it ain't going to be pretty. Retail sales. Thank you, Cool Cat. So that's it for now. We're going to move over to the private live lab unless I see any other requests from the audience in here. I know, Cool Cat, you're over in the private lab. We'll take a brief look at gold. It's always good to look at. I mean, gold's just a monster move up right now, and I don't expect gold to stop. I expect gold to continue up. You'll get these little pullbacks like you see here, just pullbacks to prior highs. That's going to happen. But gold, where are my targets on gold? We'll give you guys some of my targets, and then we'll go over to the... we're just hitting my first target that I called out, I don't know, months ago. And that was at about 37.40. We're getting there. It's 36.50, so we're almost there. My next target is actually just above 4,000, but because 4,000 is a psychological number, then I would cut it off around just below 4,000. You know, I wouldn't go all the way up to a target. Excuse me, all the way up to a target that's just above a big psychological number like that. Now, gold being gold could do that, but if I were trading, you know, I would look at a target around 39 something, right? I don't know, 39.80, 39.20, whatever your number might be. But gold is, you know, just nonstop. And it's interesting. Usually you don't see gold and equities moving up at the same fashion. I mean, you can see it, but you see it here with the SP 500, the Dow, everything is just, you know, printing all-time highs. And Nasdaq was actually lagging a bit and went ahead and caught up. The move on Nasdaq is momentous, to say the least. So thank you all for watching, and we're going to head over to the private live lab. Don't forget, get your free algo link is in the description. It's right there. You see it. Go ahead and get that free algo. Give us a real name, fake name. We don't care. We will send you an algo immediately. That algo will show you how I actually build the algos, right? It's there for educational purposes. I mean, if you are a savvy trader, then you might be able to take that algo, optimize it, and make it profitable, but that's not why it is there. It is there for you to learn how to do it. Either way, do that. I didn't do a weekly video yesterday, which I explained that in our newsletter that goes out. And if you get that free algo, you'll have that newsletter as well. The FOMC is just such an unpredictable event that I just didn't do a weekly because whatever I say could be just thrown right out the window. So that said, thank you for watching. And we're going to catch everybody tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. EST sharp. It might be a relatively short show. The FOMC might make markets run kind of slow today. We'll see. We'll see. The moves on that Sunday open for the Nasdaq were a little bit surprising. Wow, a lot of people tuning in right now. Interesting. That was a little strange here at the end of the show. A lot of people tuning in. Let's see what's going on. Does anybody who is just tuning in have a question? If you do, go ahead and ask it in the comments, in the YouTube comments. That's where I can see them. Because all of a sudden the viewership just really popped up. Very interesting. Yeah, and if it's because you saw the Nasdaq headline, I mean, geez, look at this. Massive move up in the Nasdaq. It's almost a 1%. It's like a 0.8% gain, and that was on the Monday morning open. It's pretty crazy. So for those of you just tuning in, we were just about to end, but my thesis is that it's in anticipation of the rate cut on Wednesday, a 25 basis point cut. That's what I expect to see. So we will be back tomorrow morning, same bat time, same bat channel, and that is at 8:30 a.m. EST. So if y'all just tuned in, that's when we start. We do it Monday, we don't do Monday. We do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We do this live. All right. So we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.
Join us or die.
Just kidding. You're not going to die. We love you. Get the free link in the description. Get that free link, and we will go ahead and let you know what's going on with Algo Factory, give you all the cool stuff. We'll see you then.